It's time.
Let's get into it. Welcome to the new followers. Old followers, you know the show, you know the gig. New ones, welcome to GoonSquad, where we are speaking from our vast knowledge and experience and expertise about betting in college football, NFL, and golf, which is probably what we're best at. At least just from the betting of last week. Overall. But so welcome. What we go through is we go through a recap of our games last week, our picks last week, talk about the current ones. We always come up with either a big parlay at some point, or we also do some intriguing money line locks, over under locks as we go through this as well. We go live obviously now, which is Tuesday. This posts on Wednesday and Thursday. So hit us up if you have questions or comments or want to try to troll us, I guess. Come at us. That's what we're here for.
That's pretty easy. But
yeah, especially this last week. Yeah.
Last week we made it easy on them, that's for sure.
The week before, though, was great. We did well in golf. Can't say that. So that's what we're about. We'll give a recap every time, but let's dive into this week. I guess let's dive into – I don't even know where to start. Like, what's more intriguing? I mean, the NFL had more just because of the complexity of all the games.
Right, but I think we go with recency bias.
Natty? Okay.
For the Natty.
So start there, work backwards, huh? All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it.
All right, so the first half field goal fest, that was the national championship. Last night, Georgia.
Under.
Oh.
How many times I could say it?
Yeah, but it tried.
It tried
tried
its
hard.
best.
I woke up and
It
was
ended
like,
up 51.
I had to do math really quick, too, because I knew it was like 52 was the over.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, hey, guys, under.
Yeah, ended at 51. When we were making our picks, we did it at 52.5.
Yep.
When we were
Vegas
doing
strikes again.
Yeah, no kidding.
Making us sweat it out.
Let's go. Georgia.
But yes, under.
Georgia. And spread. All of that, baby.
All of it.
you
Bring it back to the A. I'm wearing this shirt, by the way, not only because, the World Series champs, but I love how that Georgia player had the Alabama natty hat on.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure he did that on purpose.
I don't think so.
You don't? You don't
No,
think he was,
I think it's one of those. They had the hats, they had the shirts. Those shirts are now being shipped somewhere in
absolutely.
Africa.
Absolutely.
And the hats as well. And he just,
hey, to be fair,
they
the
might
A
have
looks a
all
lot
said
like
Alabama.
It does.
To be honest.
They just all did
It's
it.
like, oops.
However, if I'm him, I'm riding with that thing forever. I'm going with it.
Might as well.
Why wear the other one? Why wear a Georgia one?
It's a big famous picture now.
Yeah.
Did we
that
ever
hat.
see him
NFT? Do you
switch
think
it
he's
out?
going NFT on that?
Everything
Might
else
could be.
is. Did you hear the AB one from the other day? Sorry, not to get off
No, I
too
didn't.
far. Yeah, $1 million
Right.
for the photographer who took with the arms in the air.
Like the jumping jack,
Yeah,
basically.
in the end zone.
Yeah.
$1 million NFT, which I don't understand NFTs at all. That makes no damn sense to me. But
We'll save that for the Wealth podcast.
Yeah. But Stoy and Cole, I mean, you guys nailed this game. Cole, if I recall, you had Bama right away in the spread, and you're like, nope, I'm Georgia all the way. So you switched it.
yeah, I think JMJ kind of made me a little bit mad, and I kind of made myself mad because I was kind of hedging myself. And JMJ, I feel like,
Go ahead.
does that
Already. All right.
No, he's the ultimate self-hedger, and I can say that because he's not here, but I would also say it when he, if he was sitting next to us today. So hope he's feeling better. But, Georgia was the feel. That defense was either going to get exposed again, which if you're the best defense, they were number one defense, number one offense, efficiency all year. Dave Bartu does a matrix, college football matrix that I follow.
Yeah.
And for the last 21 years, a team would have needed to be in the top three for those categories in order to win the national championship. Georgia was the only team in that category this year.
Really?
And so
That's an interesting stat.
it was just something that I followed. So
So from now on, we're just betting on that?
I mean, that college football matrix breaks a lot of stuff down, and they don't do it. It's very objective.
Right.
This is why the picks are the picks. This is why the committee does this. This is why this happens. So this is why the numbers are. They do picks with the college football playoff rankings throughout, and they're always within, their miss percentage is less than 2% type of thing.
Yeah. That's pretty legit.
So that's something that I follow pretty closely, especially when you get down to playoff time and the pool is smaller. It's way easier to follow. But that was just something that caught my attention with that game as well. So
I thought it was impressive, Georgia, I don't want to say overcoming things. There was some, I was sitting with my father-in-law, and it's like there were some, not fluke things, but luck things. There was a couple calls that were lucky, that fumble, which actually was incomplete, like that was really close. There was just a lot of little things early on in that game that Georgia's defense stood up against and didn't crack.
Right.
Was the game changer for me. If Bama goes in those first two and scores touchdowns, this thing's probably a blowout because their offense was skittish. I don't even know a better word. Yeah. Bennett looked scared. The O-line was out of whack. You're not going to run the ball well, but they were. I mean, it was ugly early on, but they overcame.
I mean, it definitely could have been worse too, because at least one of the obviously one was a pick six, but the other interception, you're starting on your opponent's half of the 50, and you don't do anything. You punt. You go 3 and out. So that game could have definitely been worse.
Last week, I said I don't think Bryce Young's going to play well. He's going to turn it over. That'll be the difference. That's exactly what happened.
And both teams moved the ball. That was the thing. Both teams on good defenses moved the ball. And now I would stand next to this guy and he would tower over me and make me look tiny. But Alabama's defensive ends are like just tall, lanky dudes that move
pretty quick.
They're quick.
They're pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
They're not some of these big bruisers, but I mean, they're getting in, they're getting pressures, and they're making Stetson Bennett sometimes throw the ball away. I mean, he threw the ball away a ton that game.
But ultimately, Bama lost receivers on the edge, one of which might be the biggest big play guy in college football, in Williams. Mm-hmm. And Bama's a big play score team. Yeah. Touchdown team. Obviously, they can move the ball.
Right. Yeah.
But like that's
for touchdowns,
they couldn't stretch the defense anymore because of losing those two guys, which in my opinion changed offensive play calling. Mm-hmm. Also, Georgia was just relentless the whole game.
Oh yeah,
even when they weren't
I would love
to
know the blitz percentage.
Right. I mean, just getting after them.
Above 60? Mm-hmm. It has to be.
Right.
I'm pretty sure the first two drives it was 100%. Right. They were not. They didn't care.
So, I mean, I don't really blame Young. I mean, yeah, obviously he had the turnover. Bennett had the turnover, kind of some fluke plays, but ultimately Georgia was the more consistent team offensively and defensively all year. And that's what ended up playing out over 4 quarters. And it took all 4 quarters.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the 4th quarter that Georgia separated themselves. But there was a lot of talk, and I honestly hadn't heard this, about Georgia's conditioning from the previous Georgia-Alabama game that kept coming up in post-game interviews.
Yeah.
And I guess I wasn't aware of the rhetoric. I don't know if you guys had heard anything about it. But basically, Kirby Smart said after the game, for 35 days, we were not going to be tired in the 4th quarter. And ultimately, the 4th quarter, as Nick Saban said to Kirby Smart, you kicked our ass.
Right.
And, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Georgia kicked Alabama's ass and won a national championship in the 4th quarter of that game.
They absolutely did.
Yeah. So
it was really
so overall, our picks on that, 7-5, not terrible, especially when I gave us 3 of those losses. I was
over in the natty?
I was all over Bama. I was all over Bama. I just thought Nick Saban in the playoffs, it was hard for me to bet against him. And then Nick Saban's proven track record against Kirby Smart was hard for me to bet against Nick Saban. But at the same time, hard to beat a guy every single time.
Those teams are going to be really good next year too. Bama's going to be even better.
Well, and Saban even afterwards in the press conference.
That was pretty cool.
Both of his guys. And there's a reason that they're successful. And, you can say what you want about recruiting and Alabama being what they are. But when a player has that the trust and the loyalty of his coach like that. Saban doesn't want anything to do with the NFL. Like, he is what he is at Alabama. That's where he's going to stay. He's not going anywhere, and those guys know that. And then for him to show that, on that night, for a guy that's been there to be in the moment with those guys and not, the whole thing, he just gets it.
Yeah.
And then he knows how to present it.
Well,
I think that's the key as well.
Not only was that a message to them because they're coming back. Obviously, Bryce Young's too young.
Right.
I don't know if the other guy can come out. I think they're both freshmen.
Neither
or
one of them
sophomores. I don't think they come out, right?
Can come out, yeah.
So what he was saying there was twofold. One, he was doing a message to them and saying, you're the leaders going forward, and I need you to, this is going to sting, but now you're going to lead the team to next year. But also a message to the team of, like, I'm here for you.
Right.
These guys are here for you. Just because we lost the Natty doesn't mean anything. And I think some of that message was to Williams and Mitchie as well with the knees. Like, they've got to be feeling I know going a season being hurt throughout the whole thing, like, you put something on yourself that is not – I mean, you can't control being hurt.
Right.
But they're going to because they're going to say what if, and they're going to say what if forever of what if we were healthy. And, truthfully, if you were healthy, that game – could be different,
right?
But at least it would be stretched, and Georgia's defense would have to back off a little bit at some point because you could go deep. But
yeah, absolutely. So overall, pretty good on that. FCS Natty.
I just rode with Montana. That was just a mistake. Shouldn't have done it.
Rode with a hot hand.
Would just go with it, and sometimes you lose them.
What is NDSU like? 7 of the last 8.
8 of the last 11.
I
think it is.
I don't know. It's 8 of 9. I don't know. It's so many. It doesn't matter, does it? Like.
No, they were dominant in that game too.
They were.
It wasn't ever an entertaining game to watch. Well, they did. I think Montana State ran a fake field goal that resulted in a punt.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which
they pitched it back to their kicker and he punted it.
Right, but I think he was gonna throw it, but nobody was open, so then he punted it.
Yeah, there's 2 options.
Yeah.
But I think that just becomes a not made field goal. It doesn't become a punt.
A missed field goal?
That
would suck.
Sure it's just a missed field goal.
Wouldn't that be a bad stat for him?
You can't just all of a sudden go line up for a field goal and not kick the field goal in it.
Unless they direct snap to him.
I mean, they didn't.
I know. I'm saying, like, if they direct snap to him, could it be considered a punt?
No, because the reason I say that is because, and I didn't really pay that much attention.
I'm gonna go look
but
up.
The ref, did the good sign, and so it's like, okay, he's not gonna let him punt it, but if he did direct snap it to the kicker, he could punt.
Yeah,
but
I mean that's.
Hold on, I'm gonna.
In his stance, I mean, maybe the holder thought, okay, we're screwed on this. Let's pitch it back. And honestly, that's a smart decision on that kicker if he doesn't have anybody open, and just to throw it up, and then all of a sudden
don't take a sack or a fumble or any. Just
get it away.
It was just
interesting. When was it?
Look at his QB awareness.
It was first drive.
His QB awareness in NCAA football is going to go up.
Field goal, missed field goal.
Missed field goal.
There we go.
It was their second drive.
Because I also believe that the rule still allows, which I don't think that I've ever seen in person, but I saw a lot of it actually in practice at Drake, because the quarterback ahead of me there could drop kick 45-yard field goals,
which is awesome.
Is you can still drop kick like rugby and kick a field goal.
Yeah.
So he could have attempted it that way.
Hasn't Brady done it? Or tried?
They did it when he was with the Patriots.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Brady though. I think it was somebody on the Patriots when Brady was there.
Vinatieri did it.
Yeah. But yes, to short answer.
Yeah.
But that's what I was hoping was going to happen. Is give the run out drop kick, see what you can do.
But in that game, NDSU won. They covered the spread, and it actually went over. So Stoy got that over on that one.
Yeah.
All of us saw NDSU just not letting any points in, I think, and they did. And then so the Texas Bowl was the last one. LSU versus K-State. LSU didn't play anybody, and Kansas State just kind of took advantage and just whopped them.
Yeah.
Overall, we were 55.56% technically. JMJ had 4 wins, Stoy had 5 wins, I had 5 wins, and Cole had 6 wins. So pretty good week for the college football side of things. NFL, however.
Chase, why can't I see comments?
NFL is, I mean, it was week 18. Who's playing, who's not. Doing this on a Tuesday makes it tough because there's some decisions later on in the week that we don't necessarily know. So we're going in with aware of the players that we're aware of. these guys are playing, these guys are not. Obviously,
Are we
we
just
had
going to go top to bottom on this? Of the craziness? Because I feel like it builds into it.
I mean, you put that caveat in there, but we got our asses kicked.
Oh, yeah. I'm not.
It didn't matter who would have played.
You guys, it would have been worse.
Right. Because I would have guessed probably even more the opposite way.
It would have been worse. I know it would have.
I mean, that's kind of the NFL
Like
this
Indy.
year.
We had all lost Indy.
Hence the name of our show
Arizona.
this week.
Mm-hmm. What the happened this week? So let's just go to the start. Let's just start with the first game we have on here, and that's Carolina, Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Okay. Carolina had the lead, low-scoring game for a good portion of the first half, and then Tampa Bay came out late.
Took control of the game, won the game.
They still don't look good because they have nobody,
Right.
and that troubles them for the playoffs, in my opinion.
Right,
We'll
but
get
they're
to the
going to
playoffs.
they're going to get healthier.
They'll get a little healthier, but they're not getting Fournette back. They're not getting receiver back.
No, but I would be more concerned. I would be
and AB's just
more concerned about their defense being healthy
Correct.
which
I
they
agree.
get 3 starters back on defense. So, and
I agree. And you still have Gronk and Brady.
Yeah.
Right.
And Mike Evans definitely stepped up.
But the best part of that game was Brady telling Bruce Arians basically to F off. I'm going back in and got Gronk his $1 million bonus.
And then didn't get invited to Gronk's dinner celebration.
Yeah.
Not
Which
that,
is awesome.
but my guess is Brady told Gronk, like, dude, I am not coming to whatever party you're throwing.
If I go to your party, no, it's going to be bad.
There's no avocado tequila there.
So that was really all about that game. That game was just didn't really mean much. I'm just saying that Tampa Bay didn't
That was
play
the
most
most eventful
but that
part
was
of that
the
game.
eventful
Yep.
part of that
Absolutely.
game. Which nothing to do with that game, but that's still that's cool. I love seeing the incentives at the end of the year coming to fruition.
Especially when we just talked about $1 million payout that was
Which, by
all
the
but
way,
guaranteed just went away.
plays.
Yeah.
Guess what? Tom Brady's going to do the same thing.
Right.
Good job.
I mean,
Throw $1 million away.
Well, we got
Pitt in Baltimore.
Oh man, I would have picked
Just a
Pitt, too.
high-scoring affair.
I would have picked Pitt. I really would have. I don't know why.
I think
Was that not just like the normal Pitt Baltimore defensive battle, except for 2 quarterbacks who can't really get it done right now?
Hunley and
Huntley and
Big Ben, who can throw 40
Ben.
times a game and can't throw for 200 yards, let alone 300.
yeah, it's kind of
He
ridiculous.
threw, was it, like 38 times and 160-some yards in that game.
who's that?
How does your arm die
Ben.
that
Big Ben?
bad?
He went for 244.
Oh, geez, that must have been in overtime.
He threw 44 times, 244 yards.
Okay.
But
How many completions?
30. So it was about 75%.
Yeah, I'm just saying it was, at one point he had like 24 completions and 168 yards. That doesn't happen in the NFL very often.
Dinkin' Duncan, baby.
It's all the farther he literally attempted to make a couple of sideline throws that bounced 8 yards short. It looked like Peyton Manning at the end.
How can your arm be that dead?
Dude, I mean, that dude's taken so many hits.
I know, it's crazy.
And
But
lowered his shoulder on probably more guys than any other quarterback in the NFL history.
he's in the playoffs. And the last
And the
Steeler
Chiefs
who
are
was
so
going
happy.
to retire went on a Super Bowl run and won it.
That team's not winning the Super Bowl.
There's also
No. The Bucs team back then. When
I mean,
Roethlisberger
looking
was
at this
a lot
from the
different.
looking at this from the
year old.
Ravens side, there's not a lot of times when you have a running back, just one, go for 150 yards by himself and a touchdown and lose the game.
Yeah.
They had 249 rushing yards to 79 rushing yards, and they lost.
Yeah, but they
that
couldn't
game.
throw the ball anywhere.
They couldn't.
I mean, no, absolutely not. I mean, they had more total yards. I mean,
It was.
we talked about not throwing the ball anywhere. Look at what happened however many weeks back, and we'll bring it up when we talk about the Bills and the Pats. Mac Jones threw the ball 3 times,
Right.
and they just ran the ball, and they won that game.
Yeah.
They probably could have given it. I mean, Huntley had
Hey,
72 yards by himself.
all I know is that the Steelers are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that defense can do some disruption. The offense will score about 10.
I think you said it best this
Right.
you said it best this weekend when you're like, don't let teams in the playoffs that aren't supposed to be
No,
there.
don't, because they're going to do, stupid things are going to happen.
Yeah.
Stupid things are going to happen.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are not going to do anything stupid in the playoffs.
Oh, no. They're probably not.
There's going to be some stupid stuff happen. It's not coming from the Steelers.
I don't know. I think
Little
that
razzle-dazzle.
and we'll talk about those lines soon, but I think that game will be closer than we all think.
I don't disagree, but it'd only be because the Chiefs' offense has not been as good as they should be.
Oh, yeah, it's damn
And
sure
they-
not because
and
of
they
the
can't
Steelers'
run-
offense.
And they can't run the ball,
Yeah, it's not anything to do with Steelers'
which
offense.
is the Steelers' weakness.
It's going to be the Steelers' defense getting some
Right.
crazy turnovers
Right,
and stuff
right,
like that.
right.
Yeah, no. I expect them to score 10 points.
Because Kansas City is
17-10. Like that's
We'll talk about that more. I don't want to get too far into that. What's the next one? Seattle,
Arizona. Well, Seattle has an offense apparently in the last couple weeks.
I mean, that game didn't surprise me, I guess. Arizona's terrible at home.
They are.
They're the only team that I think is worse than Dallas at home. Maybe the Rams, because everybody else brings their fans to those stadiums. Like, that's the only thing I can think, because they're awful at home. They were sub 500 this year at home.
I mean, if I were
At one
to sit
point
here,
considered the best team in the league.
if I,
Sad. That's just sad.
every part of the game, Seattle played better.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle just played a better
did.
football game.
They did. Arizona's a playoff team. We'll talk about them in the playoffs, but that game was just, I guess, a vintage Seattle. The only thing about that game is, you guys heard about Pete Carroll? That apparently he's on the chopping block and not trading Russell Wilson. It's the rumor mill right now.
I think I read something. Was he talking about it maybe, or something that he's either, like you said, on the chopping block, or he wants to leave, or so. I don't know what it was. It was weird.
But it is weird. Also, why is this camera cutting out?
I don't know.
Is it the connection of it? Do we need to
I think it's just
replug it?
Is it going to sleep, or is it actual?
I have no idea. But this next game is going to be probably one of the funner ones to talk about, as he hopefully gets a camera fixed. Indianapolis has 15.5-point favorites against Jacksonville to win and in. Like, win and you guarantee yourself in.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't even know what happened.
I didn't see any of this game. I mean, obviously,
I read so much stuff like on Twitter from Pat.
There's
McAfee,
no
like,
reason.
oh my Lord.
well, right. Yeah. McAfee's a big Colts fan still, obviously. But,
Yeah.
like, just going back and looking at the matchup as far as, what you're looking at betting-wise, week before, Patriots, really good running team, don't want to throw the ball, so they're going to play action with Mac Jones. They beat him by 40 points. And so going into this game, what do the Colts want to do? Run the ball. They're going to play full strength, strength on strength defense, strength on strength offense. Like, Colts should win that game by 20, 30 points. Like,
We're in the Colts Jags.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that just didn't happen. And Carson Wentz finished with a quarterback rating of 4.
4.4. 4.4.
4.4
4.4.
out of 100.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just so that
everyone knows how the
what
scale works.
is. It's not
Yeah.
out of 5.
Nope, it is
This isn't stars. This is percentage.
4.4.
The thing that disappoints me the most is just that, one, it shows how a running back can't win MVP, because they lost to the Raiders and the Jaguars in 2 weeks, and neither one of those teams is great against the run. And I don't even know Jonathan Taylor's stats. I don't really care. But Carson Wentz was the reason they lost those games.
He was 15 carries for 77 yards. He carried the ball 5.1.
Right, but like, if he doesn't get the ball, he can't make a difference. So therefore, you're not the MVP.
Right.
And honestly, Derrick Henry being out for the Titans still getting the 1 seed, also cements that for me.
Yeah.
Is like, he's not the most valuable player, because at the end of the day, you have to have your ball. The ball has to be in your hands, or you have to make some giant impact as far as touches to touchdowns. Like, you have to put points on the board, and that's why it's so hard to not vote a quarterback.
I just think that I think MVP needs to be changed. I think there's a quarterback and non-quarterback.
Right.
Because, again, that situation, the quarterback is the most valuable player on the team. Any team.
Any
no
team.
matter what.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always. Like, there's no way around that.
They're touching the ball every time.
Every time.
Right.
They're so obviously, clearly, they're going to be the most valuable.
it's the reason in baseball the pitcher has an award and
Yeah.
then everyone else. Like that.
It should be the same way.
Yep.
Then we can have true conversations.
I agree.
And I don't believe defense player of the year is the equivalent of MVP. It's not.
No.
There's quarterback MVP and there's regular MVP.
Right.
So to your argument there, yeah, that's why.
We just need to add.
There's
no reason not to. Like you're not.
And then we can have
anyone.
a true conversation about it.
Correct.
Otherwise, it's null and void. I mean, someone posted it that a buddy of mine, Cody, posted like a little poll of blind. Basically, it was Brady and Rodgers' numbers and who should be MVP.
Right.
Same
Brady's
record and everything.
Brady's numbers are way better.
Oh, way better. Like who should be MVP, right? In the conversation, because Brady has 12 picks, 4.
Right.
And I just said it shouldn't be between those two. It should be opened. Like where are we talking about defensive guys?
Right.
I mean, where are we at with that? And it comes down to the fact that they can't be most valuable player because they don't touch the ball every play.
Right.
I mean,
They can't.
They can't.
Like it's
Also,
literally impossible.
why are fumbles never in those stats? It's always picks. Like where's the fumbles, when they talk about the MVP?
But those two are also elite in not fumbling when getting sacked. Well, also they don't get hit very often.
They don't get touched
as
much.
we
And
saw.
if they do,
in our
it's
chart
usually
that
roughing the passer. So
well, yeah. I mean, if quarterbacks if you're fumbling,
let's
as
not
a
talk
quarterback,
about that stat.
You're doing a bad job these days because they probably roughed you when you got fumbled. So there's probably a flag. So you should definitely not fumble as a quarterback these days.
You're not kidding. Trevor Lawrence actually had an okay game. I mean, he had a pretty good game
Started,
considering what he's actually.
well, he
been
started
doing
like
this year.
8 for 8 on that first drive. Came out and set the tone.
The best way he could start. So
23 for 32, 223
but let's.
and 2 tutties.
I mean, we might as well not talk about non-playoff teams. Trash. Bengals, Cleveland.
That neither team played starters.
Meh.
So
right
on to the next.
You got what you got. Yeah.
Dallas, Philly. This is the one that we kind of talked about. Like if we would have done these not on Tuesday, because on Tuesday we're thinking both quarterbacks start.
No, I didn't think Dallas would play anybody.
Right. Oh, okay. Let me back up. Either both quarterbacks are starting or Dallas is not playing anybody, and then it flipped.
Right.
And at that point, I'm not going Eagles.
Well, then the Eagles had like 8 starters out or something. I mean, something, but they were set as the 7. And I'm a Dallas fan. I didn't realize
You could
Dallas
play for the 3.
could play for the 3.
With how things fell out? No, I didn't either until it started happening.
They lost to the Rams. So there's another, because in my mind, we lost to the Bucs, we lost to the Rams. If those two teams lose, we just have a tie in record if we win. So therefore, we're set in the 4 seed. And every prediction that I saw was Dallas 4, Dallas 4, Dallas 4. So there's some algorithm out there in between Dallas and the Rams.
And
I don't even know, we'll get to the matchup. I don't even know that I like that we were the 3 seed instead of the 4, but we'll get into that a little bit more. But yeah, that game was odd. Dallas just, again, murdering the NFC East. Good for them. Like, I'm happy as a fan. It doesn't surprise me.
But it was pointless.
It doesn't mean anything. It's like everybody's like, oh, Dak got good. It's like, no, Dak's been really good against the NFC East and poor teams all year.
On the road.
It's why we're the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL. Yards, points, like whatever. Like, they look great. We have the number 2 plus minus in the league, in the entire NFL. Yeah. And it's like, oh, great. And it's like, that's because we beat up on crappy teams. Guess what? There's not any
crappy teams.
We don't get to play crappy teams.
I mean, he's actually been, and I looked at numbers just because I wanted to see like what Dak's numbers were against playoff teams and different stuff like that. Mm-hmm. He's actually been pretty good against those guys too.
Right, but he's missed the throws because they play close games. They don't get blown out.
Let's talk about that when we get to the playoffs.
Right.
Let's dive into the playoffs. Let's get through this. Tennessee, Houston.
Tennessee won the game.
Yeah,
they've done what they
did. They did what they needed to do.
Except for they scored a lot of points in that game.
They sure did
on both sides.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, it was just a preseason-ish type of game.
Right. Let's just do enough to win. We don't need to do anything crazy. Essentially, the KC Denver though, which is I took Denver in the spread. I actually thought Denver in my eyes should have won that. Mahomes threw a couple picks, should have been picks, but I don't know the defenders. I don't know what they were doing. KC still does not look good offensively.
No, but they find a way.
They find a way, which is saying something. But there's something there. Now, it's not going to be against Pitt.
Right.
I'm not going to, spoiler alert, I'm not going to pick KC or Pitt later.
Right.
I think it'll be closer than we think, but no.
Yep.
But that doesn't say, hey, we're a Super Bowl team to me.
Yeah.
I mean, we can argue this game is the exact same as the Texans and Titans game. That game should have never been that close, and this game should have never been that close. Both of those games had clear favorites.
But
3 and 4 point wins.
I mean, Kansas City's supposedly healthy, and they played all of their guys.
Everybody.
And Tennessee didn't.
No.
Not to say that they sat out guys, like a lot of guys, but like they're getting Derrick Henry back, and nobody else going into the playoffs is getting Derrick Henry back.
Exactly.
They're
set up. We'll get to that, but they're set up real nice. It just, to me, the inconsistencies of KC throughout the season, just like we had said with Georgia being consistent all year, it will come back to bite them in the butt. I don't know if it's first round, more likely second round.
Right.
But that's what makes me nervous about it, because they just don't look like they are. And now Tyreek Hill has a heel injury.
Yeah, that's all right.
They kept putting him in the game. I don't understand.
That's why I think he's fine. I think they're just going to shoot it up.
Oh, absolutely. That's what they're going to do.
Fine.
A big thing with Kansas
City.
City.
And you don't run on your heels.
You don't run, except for, it's attached to your foot. So, like, when you
flex. But he's not planning on stopping. He goes in a straight line a lot.
I just don't understand why they kept playing him, because that field was sloppy too.
Right.
On top of
the
it,
field was terrible.
The
that to me was as much of the game as anything.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that kicker just ate shit on that kickoff so hard.
JMJ's happy for COVID one time because Joe Judge is out as the Giants coach.
Oh, he's officially out?
He's officially out.
That's what it took, JMJ, for you to be bedridden to get him out of here.
You did it.
It was probably Aaron Rodgers' comment today on the McAfee show.
What did he say?
He basically is like, I'm not taking no damn knee to tie a game, and I'm also not going to do a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9 from the 2.
Got him. But did you also hear what he said as well?
Who's that, Rodgers?
Yeah.
About
if he's in the Super Bowl, he's not playing?
No, he's
going to boycott?
No, that's what he refuted.
I know
that report. He was
How
so
does
mad.
That happen?
He was so mad. Well, Esiason was the one that reported it.
I know. Like,
he was pissed.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't just from like one of us.
I love Aaron Rodgers right now. I mean, that guy, he is.
I wish more players could just openly speak how they feel.
Him and Brady the last 2 years have just
been
become
really good.
Just like, hey, you know what? F it.
Them, when they retire, having a podcast or show or doing the Manning thing, the Manning cast side by side with just those four, I don't need anybody else.
Absolutely.
I need them.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty good.
I'm actually going to be really excited to talk about this Kansas City-Pittsburgh game, looking at some of these stats right now.
Saints, Falcons, my Lord, we just gave that one away. Ultimately, the best thing happened in that game. You want to know what it was?
You like the Joe Judge firing? Yeah, we it came across our ESPN, and we're like, okay, that's the one good thing about COVID.
Are you cured now?
No, man, I left this bed all day. I feel like shit.
Well, you sound like shit, so I guess you can't really.
No, I don't know who keeps calling me. He's all right. All right, bye.
The only good thing out of the whole Falcons game was the fact that we lost, so now we're 8th pick,
Draft pick, yep.
and then the Niners won later, and the Saints are in the playoffs. So I'm good.
Win-win.
We can
it was a
lose-win.
It
was a lose-win. Oh no, we lost. Win-win. Cool. Let's move on.
Nice.
To that game. Over though. Hit. San Fran and L.A. This was a blowout. Ridden early.
Yeah, halftime
for the Niners. Really was.
But the Rams had a chance. I mean, I kind of came in out of this game, but I felt like the Rams had a chance to really put the game away and never did.
And it didn't even look like they wanted to.
And then Jimmy G just got hot.
Well, Kyle Shanahan dialed up some things I remember from 2016. He can design plays.
Right.
He really can. And some of those plays were, it was just, they were fantastic.
I mean, Garoppolo missed throws in the first half that ended up being interceptions.
Yeah.
And in the second half, he made the throws.
Correct.
And when it mattered, he made the throws. I don't even know what that says about Garoppolo. It says the same thing it says about Stafford. They're inconsistent, and they can't be trusted to
and
win.
When they're on, they're
games.
on. When they're off, they're off. Like,
yeah.
that's what it is.
Yep.
I don't think I don't even think it really changes how I feel about the Rams really at all. Again, that was one of those games that San Fran had to win it. We talked about it.
Right.
They have to win to get in.
Right.
The Rams positioning I think they're a good enough squad overall that they didn't really care per se. Mainly because they don't have home field advantage. So it's not
I don't
like
know.
it's a
That
thing.
sideline was pretty hot.
Well, you're going to be pissed. They came back from like 17.
'Cause they play. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying,
You're
like,
pissed about that.
even like before they got to overtime or that last possession when San Francisco went down and scored, like, I mean, their dudes, Von Miller, coach. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
he's standing there yelling at dudes, throwing stuff, and this is a game that doesn't matter. And I get that, but it's like they were trying to win that game. The other thing was San Francisco crowd was making the Rams on their home field go silent count.
I know.
That's embarrassing.
So it is.
Yeah,
It
you're
is.
not
so,
wrong in
So
that.
the Rams are always playing away.
Right.
Really, like, screw it. It doesn't matter.
But can you imagine
I
New
couldn't.
Orleans coming into Atlanta and Atlanta having to use
Silent.
a silent count because the Saints fans were too loud?
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. At all.
Or the Bears fans coming into Minnesota?
That'd be.
Yeah,
You would just be like, as a fan, like, what could, and then you couldn't do anything. Like,
Right.
obviously, you can't be loud
You're
sk
sitting here doing one of these,
Yeah,
and
like, what
they're
are you
getting
supposed to do?
louder. Like,
Yeah.
no, like that's just
All right, so we'll move on for that one. The game of the week
Game.
that should have been just Neil's.
the game
Central.
of the game of the country.
Yeah, like
Everybody had an opinion.
everyone
on this.
wanted I would say majority wanted to end in a tie
Oh yeah, just because.
to
Besides-
begin with.
But what
Besides
did I tell you?
Steelers.
Then going
Besides the
Besides
Steelers.
the Steelers
Yeah.
fans, yes.
then going through, people wanted the Raiders, and then late they were like tie again, and then super late, just tie.
Okay,
I don't
okay,
understand.
right,
I
right.
don't understand.
But I told you because we were just talking about Neil through the whole
Yep.
game. Goodell put the whole competition thing out there. There is a rule
Yeah,
under certain
Blah,
section,
blah, blah.
like competitive rule,
I
whatever.
will find
you.
you.
Have to
I'll
try.
take picks away. Something.
So I'm like, well, they can kind of like,
Yeah.
stay. But that's not how that game went at all.
Definitely didn't start
Like,
that way.
if there's no way you watch that game and are like, you know what?
They tried.
That was, they tried to let them score 15 points in the last 4 minutes and 30 seconds. No, absolutely not. That game was just bonkers.
It was. It's so crazy.
All the way up to the
Oh.
38-second timeout from Staley.
It was-
to the 2-second timeout from the Raiders.
Like the game,
all the way up
all
to
the
what was it, like 3rd and 23 or something like that, and they
Where they
ran
got
a
the draw.
draw.
Yeah.
And Josh Jacobs converted it.
it was Richard.
Or yeah, Jalen Richard. Sorry,
But
Yeah.
that was,
Two
yeah, I mean,
rushes
that
for
was even
24
before they got
yards.
to,
what was happening?
yeah.
Raiders get to a huge early lead. Like what? How is this? And ultimately, though, it should have ended in a tie, right? From the facts that we're getting is, you don't call timeout. We're running the clock
Right, but they still had a chance to run the clock out until they gained 10 yards. So here's
Well,
the
at that
thing.
point, they were just like,
But
I
they're
think
they're lined up in shotgun. It's
middle
3rd and 4. The clock has run down from a minute 16 or something like that, and they're going to run a play. They're going to hand the ball off. They haven't done anything else. They're not throwing the ball on 3rd and 4 when
Correct.
an interception loses you the
Yeah.
game, basically. So they're going to hand it off. If he gets enough yards, I have a hard time believing they're not kicking that field goal. If he gets stuffed, I don't think they're kicking a 58-yard field goal because that's got way more likelihood of getting blocked than a 48-yard field goal, which is, I think, what they ended up kicking to win the game.
47, I think. Yeah, but
Right.
it doesn't matter.
So, I mean, that ball's getting lifted. The chances of that getting blocked
Absolutely.
are 50%
But
less.
why call the timeout?
I don't know why Staley.
Well, he said because to get his defense lined up correctly.
but that didn't make any
However,
sense.
they
Why
were
didn't
sitting there the whole time lined
well,
up.
why didn't you call it at a minute 16?
Exactly.
And that's what baffled me. But we've watched NFL coaches all year
Make not good
make
decisions.
terrible
We talked about it
timeout
all year
blunders.
round.
and there's a lot of NFL coaches that are not here, and maybe it's not the ones necessarily making these
right.
decisions,
Not,
but
'cause Flores should
No, it's
not
the
been
guys in the
fired.
playoffs.
Yeah, what the?
that
Literally, like
baffles
if you
me.
go down the list of playoff coaches, time management is a negative on
It's-
like half of the playoff coaches.
Which should mean like you shouldn't make like
Right,
odds you
your
shouldn't make
talent has overcome.
clearly.
So,
Man, that game was.
There were so many
even-
things on top of it being like the game itself, if it meant nothing, was a great game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you throw in everything that it meant, and it was the last game of the NFL season.
So last game of the NFL season. If they tie, they're both in.
Yep.
If one of them loses, Steelers are in.
Mm-hmm. And you've got a 15-point comeback.
15-point comeback.
You've got
Two overtime.
2 field goals
in
in overtime.
overtime.
So you've got scores in overtime.
The whole kneeling and timeout situation. and then a 47-yarder to win it.
The 5th Raiders walk-off of the year, which is by far the most
Kicker,
walk-offs.
which you're going to hate, has not missed a kick in that stadium in 2 years.
No. And, I mean, he's a... Yeah.
He may or may not be a former Vikings. Nah, no, he is. He is definitely a former.
He is.
And he definitely missed
a chip shot.
some of those.
A chip shot.
Some of those
a
exact
lot
same field
closer
goals.
than 47.
The Vikings kicking coach, has that changed over the years? This
Because
is
apparently
totally
he needs to go.
right. He must be very
It
demeaning.
must be him, yeah.
He's demeaning, and so like the guys get scared to miss. Whereas this guy in Las Vegas is obviously.
Did you have the same snapper throughout too?
I think it's the curse of the goat. I think they brought that to Minneapolis
fair.
and did that for that too. I honestly, no, it's not the same snapper. I don't get it.
Something's
But
gotta
they're cleaning house right now, so we'll see.
They
We'll
are.
see.
Are you excited? I mean, that'll be next week's.
It's
episode,
kind of like it's like a bittersweet thing. Like I look at it back to when Zimmer took over for Childress, and it was time, and Childress did a job and turned him around a little bit, and then Zimmer took over and turned him around from Childress, and I think that's just what it is right now. Do I think that Zimmer is a bad coach? No, I don't think he's a bad coach. Do I think that it was just time to move on? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, and that's as a Vikings fan, like, what's the next step? And I think getting rid of both Zimmer and
Yeah, I don't think you could have got rid of one or the other. I think they needed to go both. Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm just curious of the direction that they go.
Right.
I've heard a lot of talk about like Doug Peterson, Lane Kiffin, and then I've heard a lot of talk about young offensive minds like Byron Leftwich, Kellen Moore.
Flores is available.
Right.
I bet they were not planning on that.
That's been in there, but Doug Peterson is the one that I've heard the most talk about.
what's your take? I don't want to get in too deep with next week. We can talk, but as far as is it offense or is it defense more of a problem in your mind?
Currently, right now, I think defense is more of a problem. So what I
Flores
love to be this team that hires an offensive guy, yeah, but at the same time, they had a defensive mind and they were putting up points. They just weren't putting together on defense.
Yep.
So
that makes sense.
defense is the problem.
Yeah, and I think I will obviously get into it, but I think the biggest problem bringing an offense guy in is you've got Cousins for 2 years, most likely, as the new guy coming in. So can you change the whole thing with Cousins as who he is as a quarterback? Or if you do a Flores and go defense focused, it gives you time to then develop into that.
Yeah.
But that was
we'll talk
right.
about
Yeah,
that,
we got
but-
to coach's
All right.
show next week.
That was the crazy piece of NFL, and it landed us with what we've got for the playoffs this week.
Wild card weekend.
I don't even have it. Can we just play them? Like, do I just do both of them? Like, championship. I don't have a button for the playoffs.
It's fine. Playoffs.
But wild card weekend. So there is a ton of rematches in this first round.
There are.
Do you see the times that some of these are at though? Why is there one Saturday game?
There's two.
And a Monday
And
night.
a Monday night
first
game?
Monday night playoff game.
Yeah. There's two. Why is there a Monday night playoff game? Why not Saturday, Sunday like always?
I don't know. I'm confused why they didn't do the noon. What is it? The noon, 3:30, 7:15.
Follow the money.
You're not wrong.
That's the only reason.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But
Yeah. I'm surprised they're not Thursday night. Might as well throw it in there.
Exactly.
yeah, Thursday night playoffs just doesn't sound appealing.
Doesn't sound good.
Let's be
Because
honest.
Thursday in general they're not good football games.
Yeah, like you wouldn't just lock into that on a Thursday night.
Oh, I absolutely, would.
It's the playoffs.
Ex-
I would. It's the playoffs, but Thursday night games.
you just act like it's
just
real
roast them.
far-fetched, and I just don't feel like it is.
It's not that crazy. Next year,
They add a couple teams of playoffs.
absolutely Thursday's in.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday's in.
Yeah, for
I'll
sure.
play in Thursday before. Oh,
Right. Go like
Talk
baseball
about it.
wild card.
let's talk about it. Let's not. First game
Game one,
Saturday because they didn't noon on Saturday, did they? They went 3 and 6.
Yeah, it's
Instead
like
of
it
the
was.
noon.
It's like it was last week, I think.
They just moved that noon to a Monday
Yeah, it's 3:30 is start time.
because it makes no sense.
3:30 start
Same
time. You got the
sense.
4 seed Cincinnati Bengals as 5.5 point favorites over the 5 seed Raiders.
Total
Total
49.5.
49.5. Money lines minus 225. Cincinnati plus 185. Las Vegas.
I'm gonna need to
Two
see the
quarterbacks who
weather.
have never played a playoff game.
Oh, yeah. Last time the Raiders made the playoffs, Derek Carr had a broken ankle.
Yep.
So they haven't made that. They did, however, play
It's gonna be
in Las Vegas earlier this year.
It's gonna be 30 degrees.
Yeah, weather. I didn't see
Wind 5 to 10.
I didn't see any factors of weather.
Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy.
Both teams relatively healthy from
Yeah.
what I could say. I will be very surprised if we get much, if any, COVID news now that it's playoff time.
Small chance of snow is like the only thing.
Like to a practice squad guy.
Maybe just to
Maybe.
just to make sure that
Not-
like
yeah,
they
it's
think,
still real.
They
Yeah.
think that they're
Yep,
so
absolutely.
Small chance of snow is about the only thing in there, and then sunset will happen in the middle of the game, probably third, fourth quarter. But that doesn't mean a whole
man. I
lot.
hope the shadows don't come into play.
Baseball, baby.
Yeah, they'll be fine. From a
Yeah.
weather standpoint.
So, do we look at their previous game and kind of how that went? I mean,
You pull up what stats you have, man.
I have.
Like I said, you guys are the stats people. I'm the field guy.
I do have stats on this,
overall,
and
When we talk about our overall,
You want to tell us how you feel?
57%.
32-13 was their first one. It was in Vegas. So
Sounds about like the score it will be.
flip the
Some random
script.
ass numbers.
Joe Burrow didn't really
They weren't good in the first.
blow the brakes off
they
of
weren't
anybody.
good
I
in the
mean, they
first
were.
quarter.
He was 20-29, 148 yards and a touchdown. So like nothing great. Mixon, however, had a really good game that game. He had 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then, I mean, Burrow spread the ball out. It wasn't like he was just focusing on Jamar Chase and had this big target. I mean, Jamar Chase and Boyd, I think, had pretty much the exact same stats. Derek Carr, I mean, they had 1 turnover, which he did. I mean, he played all right. He had an interception, but 19-27, 215 yards and a touchdown, 1 interception, like I said. Jacobs was just obsolete in that game. He's just nowhere to be found.
He's going to be nowhere to be found again.
Waller, however, went off. 7 catches, 116 yards. Total yards are basically the exact same. They each lost a fumble. The big stat, I think, that changes this is Cincinnati was 50% on third downs, and the Raiders were 14%.
Yeah. Feel-wise, you asked that question. Since he wins this game, but I think it's just going to be some weird-ass score. And that's the only thing I don't know in the total. But since he will win this game, they're just the better team. They've been more consistent, specifically late. I think Las Vegas is they're an lucky team. I don't even know where else to say with that.
Right.
They have the ability to get it done. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
I really don't.
The one thing, because 100% feels like Cincy is easy to root for, fun to watch. They've got young guys. They haven't been in the playoffs for a long time. Like, there's just a lot of things they have going for
Conspiracy,
them.
follow the money.
Right,
They've got the hot names. Yeah.
So
course.
all of those
that.
things. That being said, the one thing that I can say on the Raiders side is they had to win the last 4 weeks to get in the playoffs.
Correct.
And they have. Whether you like how they did it or not, they
did it.
And they beat good, not great football teams. They beat the Chargers. They beat the Colts, who also
I was going to
had
say
to
they
win.
They were playoff teams. They
were
at
right.
that point.
That if the Chargers win or the Colts win, those teams are in the playoffs and not the Raiders.
Not the Raiders.
So they had the same thing to play for. So you can argue, and I think the Raiders might be the worst 5 seed to get into the playoffs. 5 seed, not the worst playoff team. Obviously, there's been sub 500, but just as far as what they've done. But at the end of the day, they're a resilient team. They've gone through a whole bunch of shit this year.
Oh my Lord.
Off the field, and so
make
it's
you stronger.
hard to argue with the resiliency. Hard to argue with we've been there for 4 weeks. The Bengals haven't. So like that's what makes me leery as I'm.
That's 100% the reason I'm going to hedge it and go Raiders to cover.
But I just don't think that the Raiders have the talent. although the one thing that the Raiders do have is 2 really good edge rushers, and the one things the Bengals allow is hits on the quarterback.
Yes.
So, I mean, dare I say I'm talking myself into Vegas covering.
Dare I say?
But I don't. No, Cincy.
They should.
Yeah.
They should, but something's...
But I think there's points scored. I think this hits the over.
Yeah. Give it to me.
So Stoy's got Cincinnati, Las Vegas, and the over. I got Cincy over. Cole's got Cincy over. JMJ, as you guys can probably see, is not here, so we'll type in his stuff. He's down with a vid. He's on COVID reserve list right now. So we'll type his stuff in later. I don't know. I think if Las Vegas wins this game or makes it close, Carr's got to play really, really well. And
the one thing that
just
Vegas can't do on offense is that they struggle to stretch the field with anyone but Waller. And I think in the playoffs, like,
You have to have more than that.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I can agree with that.
That's why inevitably I end up on Cincy.
So game number 2, we got
The one that we knew was going to happen
Exactly.
4 weeks ago.
for the third time, the 3-seed Buffalo Bills are 3.5-point favorites over the New England Patriots in Buffalo. The total is low at 42.5, minus 190. Let's see. Weather here, and this is the first time it's going to maybe have a factor, high of 8 degrees.
Just in. Breaking news. JMJ went Cincy over.
Cincy over. All right.
Looks like I'm lone wolfing it. Hey, we didn't goonlock it, so you guys will be right. Congrats.
It's fine. It's good.
That's good.
So high of 8 degrees, low wind. It's just, it's the frigid temps. They both, Foxborough and what is it?
You guys,
Orchard
New
Park.
England has not looked good
No.
for 3 weeks now.
Teams have here's the thing is Mac Jones hasn't looked as good, but the
He's
problem
also a
is
rookie.
like Mac Jones, like look at who's Mac Jones is throwing to. You can say Brady never had anybody to throw to either, but
Brady
like
was
he at
Brady
least
by then,
always
by the
had
way.
a tight end, and
Right.
Hunter Henry is
Can you
not
reach the middle?
Gronk or
Correct.
anyone from a tight end perspective that
They thought he
Brady had.
was, by the way.
Well, right, but he's doing more than Brady was in his rookie year, in his first start. So that's a whole other thing. This game comes down to what Belichick can game plan against Buffalo, and
I truly, just because of how they've been playing and everything, I really want buff over on that. But that 3.5 is weird. It's still Belichick.
Yep.
It's still Belichick.
right.
I just don't. Like you are going to is I don't think the Patriots have enough firepower to stay with it throughout this game, and the temp's not gonna. That won't be a factor.
Well, I don't think Buffalo's not going to, just like Georgia came in last night and was not going to let Alabama run the ball. Buffalo is going to come in and not allow New England to run the ball.
No.
And so then they need to stretch the field. Well, New England can't. They can do a lot of things off of play action, stuff like that.
But if you
they
stop the
can't
run,
stretch the
there's
ball.
no
Right.
flex.
They can't stretch the ball. I see this as Buffalo, and under.
And it's like he's a rookie quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Is he hitting a wall? Some rookie wall? He possibly can be.
Right.
But he's in the playoffs, and it is cold for him, which is different.
Right.
And again, the Buffalo team, they're going to take away the run. You're not going to be able to run the ball. They're going to say Mac Jones beat us.
They got embarrassed in a game that you mentioned earlier where they ran the ball, they threw the ball 3 times, or one of you said that.
You did.
In a game, in a regular season game in Buffalo earlier this year. They are not going to let that happen.
Nope.
Come hell or high water, they're not letting that
And
happen.
Belichick knows that.
Mac Jones might throw for 400 yards.
Oh, yeah.
More likely than New England running for 200
Absolutely.
because of that.
And the thing is, Belichick's smart enough. He understands that too.
Right.
So they're going to be quick. There's going to be a lot of quick passes, a lot of slants, a lot of bubbles, a lot just quick things. And if they shut down the run like Buffalo's going to, and they shut those down, that's where the Patriots are in big trouble. And that's why I'm going with Buff for sure.
You can definitely argue.
Oh, that's so low.
You can definitely argue, though, I mean, in the game that they did try and shut down the run, Harris still had 103 yards and 3 touchdowns. So they didn't, I mean, even trying that, the big thing is, well, Mac Jones can be able to take care of the ball in a high-pressure situation like this. And that's my question mark with it.
He just hasn't taken great care of the ball lately.
Right. And I think they'll still be able to run the ball. Will Harris score 3 touchdowns like he did last game? No, probably not. But will Mac Jones throw 2 interceptions? That's more likely than 3 touchdowns, I think.
Sure could. Where are you at with this over under though?
This
one's tricky for me.
Honestly, I like the under because I think that both teams are going to have to try and run the ball. I mean, the Buffalo's running game right now is great. New England's running game against these guys has been good. It's cold, so does Belichick maybe not try and throw as much and try and get that run really, really going? If it's going, he's not going to throw hardly at all, just like he showed us. He won't do. So I like the under, I think. It's so low, though.
But we're talking about 28-14 doesn't even do it.
No. Yeah, that's a lot of
28-21, 26-24.
Yeah.
And I don't see those points because the Patriots aren't explosive enough.
I mean, the game they won 14-10.
Somewhere around there.
And they lost 36-10.
They lost. So they won 14-10. They lost 33-21.
Okay. So the loss wasn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah, but overall theme, playoff football.
Right.
Lower scores, run the ball.
Yeah, Belichick's running that clock. He's not putting that ball in his quarterback's hands until he has to.
His rookie quarterback hands? No way, and he knows that.
I mean, that's just, and that's Belichick. Like, that's
Absolutely.
the guy knows football, and there's
so
a reason you don't
give
do
me
that.
buff under.
And the only thing we were really a little bit of separation on is that spread. And again, it's a weird line. It's that weird line and cold, and they're both going to run the ball like crazy.
I would not be shocked if it's a 3-point win. I would
Right. Next game we got, Philadelphia travels to Tampa Bay Sunday at noon. 7 seed Philadelphia, 2 seed Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is 8.5-point favorites, and the total is 49.
It's a lot of points to me for both spread and the total.
Yeah.
Solely because of how Tampa Bay's been playing.
Right. Like, I mean, Philadelphia can't rush the passer. Like, I mean, they had guys hurt last week, but it's. And I think actually, I mean, their strength is running, and Tampa Bay's strength is on the ground on defense. They're way better rush defense than they are pass defense, and so
the biggest variable here is going to be Hurts, in my opinion. Can he get free and run and throw? Right. Look to throw, but actually start running. That will tire out that D-line.
Who's he going to throw to? Smith. I mean, Smith's solid.
Quez Watkins.
Right.
I mean, Zach Ertz. So just I'm saying just like what you said.
Don't say him.
No, I'm bringing him up for my because this is another.
Goddard, don't they?
Yeah.
This is another rematch.
Dallas
again, where it was 28-22, and just like you said, Hurts rushed the ball 10 times, 44 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He's going to.
He's got to do it with his legs.
He has.
He had 1 interception. He'll have
that.
He only had 115 yards throwing, so that's.
He's got.
But still,
that. But there's no one to throw to.
Exactly.
Tampa Bay's defense is getting healthier. That offense still though. The thing is, it's still Tom Brady, and the thing is, it's actually still Bruce Arians. And it's playoff football. They did what they needed to do to be a 2 seed.
And Gronk's healthy.
And Gronk is healthy.
And Mike Evans is healthy.
Yes. And the drop-off at running back, Not big.
Doesn't matter.
Not really big.
Unfortunately.
I mean, that's
Now
that's
it might
a big
be a
thing.
trust thing for Brady, but that might be the biggest difference.
Right.
That's a big thing that Tampa Bay did in Game 1 was their time of possession was absolutely unreal because they just kept the ball on the ground. And, I mean,
8.5
Brady still
is-
threw for
8.5
300 yards.
pretty healthy for a playoff game.
It is very healthy, but
It could
it's
happen.
healthy for the reasons that we just mentioned.
Oh yeah.
Like if they're playing a team that they can only throw the ball, that line's not that big.
Right.
But Philly can really only run the ball.
Yeah.
And that's I think Tampa's top 5 in rush
I'm
defense.
sure the weather in Tampa is going to be
Perfectly fine.
gorgeous.
It is 63 degrees in there at kickoff, and there's about a 40% chance of rain that only goes down as the game goes on.
Gotcha.
That's, I mean,
Winds 10 to 20.
Yeah, but I mean, Brady
and so
in
it's-
weather games, the dude's played in every type of
I'm
weather.
not,
Exactly.
I'm not worried about him.
Right. So
Guys, it's going to be a little warm for Philly.
Too nice.
They're
They're going to feel like they're on vacation.
I mean, when we played Jacksonville late, we always played in November, either here or there for some reason. I don't understand. I loved it when they were home. When we go down there, I know they're going to probably go earlier in the week, but there is that difference of, it's humid, it's hot. Like your body is like, I don't know what to do with this.
I think it was like 80%
If it was
humidity.
80,
would be a little different. What's the humidity?
I think it was like 80%.
Well, I mean, it's raining, so there's
Right.
humidity should be pretty high.
Right.
It should be
I'm just saying
Science.
that's part of that weather. That's part of that
I'm
weather.
past
I'm just
meteorology.
throwing that.
I promise.
But I mean, one thing I brought up this recap from this other game previously. Both of them are without their top targets from that game.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown was Brady's top target, and
Top target?
oh yeah, I mean Antonio Brown had 9 receptions. He had 3 more receptions
Oh,
than any
from
other
that game.
Yeah, from that
Oh,
game.
I thought. I was
than
like,
any other
I was like, guys,
receiver.
Grunk's
and
still there.
Right.
And Ertz had like 2 more catches than any other receiver or
Now
reception.
Ertz is
So
gone. Ertz, go bye-bye.
that's what I'm saying. Less of a drop off
We
from
can all
Antonio
agree Tampa
Brown.
Bay's
But
winning this game.
Yeah. For multiple reasons.
Yeah, they're winning the game. Over 49. If it's going over, Philly's getting blown out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem
Right.
for me. At least on the total, because if it goes, I mean exactly what JMJ went Bucs over. Essentially a blowout. I mean anything over 8 points, going at 10, and that's going to be a blowout. If it goes over, it's going to blowout territory.
Yep.
100%.
I see it as a Tampa under.
That's 8.5. There's so many points. Playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I got Tampa in the under for sure. Ryan, can you sway me one way?
so I
I'm gonna
honestly
frickin' coin flip at
I
this point.
honestly look at it from a standpoint, just like you said earlier. Hertz is going to have to do something, and that's the reason. I mean, I look at the game before, and that's probably why I took the over, is because it was 28-22, and I went to 60 points or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is my math right?
28-22
50.
is
50.
That is.
So it went over. Sorry.
Yeah, but
By 1.
Hertz had to do something with his legs.
yeah.
And that's why I think if Philly is even going to sniff this, he has to do something with his legs, like you said. So that's why I think that he does.
Fair.
That's fair.
I
It's a
don't.
damn coin flip to me.
And
And
if
also
he
it's
does, if he does, and Philadelphia's been running the ball fine, but
Just doing
they're just not.
doing circles.
You got Maul Walker
My boys are here, and one of them's just
doing laps.
just lapping it. Jesus. Oh, it's too many points. Give me Philly. That'll be my theme this week.
It's not enough.
I don't.
Because it's going to make me physically ill.
I can't hate on that. I can't hate on that button. I honestly
Oh,
was
boy.
I was in the same dilemma. First thing I thought of was that, so I typed it in so I didn't change myself.
I mean, I'm leaning Philly just because of what they did to us in week 1. I don't have much. That was a coin flip for me, so
Right.
you could have swayed me saying almost anything. But we'll go with Philly. We'll ride the Philly train. Shout out a couple of the people we follow. They're Eagles fans.
Eagles.
Go Eagles, fly.
Fly,
And by the way,
Eagles,
please
fly.
do, because I cannot support the Bucs. I mean, it's just
Oh, yeah.
not in my
No, that's
DNA, nor should I. They'll win the game though.
so
Right.
Like, I don't.
I mean, we
Philly's
say
not-
that and look at
Philly's
the
not
NFL all year. So
So next game we
Should have
got
done that with Montana State last
we got the 6 seed San Francisco 49ers traveling to the 3 seed Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is a 3-point favorite, and the total's at 50.5.
I don't like this matchup.
finally,
The first
finally
game.
a team that we can somebody here roots for that made the playoffs.
Oh, he's been waiting for this the whole time. Also, ouch.
I don't even know which one to do. Do I do this?
Yeah,
Or
kind
do I do a little bit of both? Like a little bit of
at the
both?
same time.
Right.
This is the first one that we don't have a rematch.
Yeah.
This is the first new opponent game.
I really do not like this matchup for Dallas.
I mean, I don't love it, but I mean, the 49ers are inconsistent. So
It's not.
they feel like they're
Yes.
built for the playoffs, though.
This matchup to me is Quinn Shanahan. That's the side of the ball. That's what I'll
Right.
focus on. I clearly know a lot about both of them
Right.
from prior history.
Mm-hmm.
And together, they didn't make a good decision. Sorry.
Here they are in the.
PTSD.
Yes, that's fair.
Anyways, that's what's tough. For me now, Dan Quinn did not have who he has on defense.
No.
He didn't have Parsons.
Right.
Parsons can do things to Shanahan's offense that, yes, can he scheme around it? And he has to. But can be that disruptor that Quinn's never had. And I also don't think San Francisco's really saw as much. Because if you think about who they usually play, the Rams, edge rusher, who really do they have?
The Rams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got Von Miller.
An older Von Miller, they
Aaron
only saw him
Donald.
once. Aaron Donald's on the inside.
Right,
I'm talking about outside. Because the outside, that's what's going to get to Shanahan's offense more than that inside.
That's what has to.
It
Because
has
that's
to.
where
There's
he
no-
attacks.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's my concern.
And he'll scheme against it. Of course he will. But Parsons gets home, it's over. Parsons doesn't get home. Quinn's defense can get picked apart by Shanahan's offense relatively quickly. They've seen each other, by the way, for what, 2 years
Right.
they were together? Year, 2? So there's going to be some really fun wrinkles in this that I don't think anybody has seen for a while. And
Right.
that's what I'm excited about. I'm really excited to see that chess match.
Right.
The Quinn in his defense, and it's obviously cover 3 base, which isn't ideal to go up against what Shanahan does with this multiple West Coast run. Like what do you?
Yeah.
I don't know what his style per se would be.
I mean,
It's not like his father per se.
he uses Debo Samuel
Absolutely.
in so many ways to attack the edges, and Debo Samuel can run downhill. Like most receivers, they get a handoff that like
Is
CD Lamb will get
Is
some
he a receiver?
handoffs
No.
for Dallas. He's avoiding contact. Debo Samuel's looking to crush somebody, but he can also run by.
I'm gonna go back to just when we were younger and we call each other names. Debo Samuel, to me, is just an athlete. An F. Gotta get the F in there.
That's right.
Just an athlete.
Athlete.
He's not a receiver. He's not a running back.
Right.
He can throw the damn ball too. Like he is just an athlete that gets the ball
Right. And they get him the ball a
everywhere,
lot.
as they should.
And attacking Dallas on the edges, like they have good rush ins because Parsons, they'll line him up at rush in, but he'll play everywhere. But their rush ins are not physical. Gregory, linebacker play is solid, but Van Der Esch is not a fast guy, sideline to sideline. I mean, he can get there, but
Yeah.
I don't.
Neil is.
Yeah,
He hits.
and so if they can set the edge, they'll be fine. 49ers will run the ball. Absolutely. And then they'll run the ball in a lot of different ways. That is not a strength of Dallas.
No.
But Dallas is very much a bend, don't break. So ultimately, in my mind, that matchup comes down to, can we get at Garoppolo's feet? And if we can, then he can't be effective. So we get off the field on third down.
So effectively, you would say that side's a wash?
That side is a wash. unless we're just getting gouged on the ground.
Right.
But in the NFL these days, and just with offenses, like you have to be effective through the air to win games. So at some point, San Francisco, even if it's for a half, they have to be effective through the air.
Oh, yeah.
And with
Garoppolo's gonna have to throw
Jenkins,
30, 35 times.
Debo Samuel, Ayuk, like their guys have been making plays down the stretch. They've got a healthy Kittle, which is probably the best combo blocking receiving tight end in the NFL. And the guy is impossible to bring down when he catches the ball downfield.
Apparently.
So I mean, it's a scary matchup on
Iowa's
offense
strong.
because they utilize their weapons. The thing is they have probably, of the 14 quarterbacks in the playoffs, one of the bottom 3 guys. So therefore, you're like, all right, we have to impact their worst guy.
Oh, yeah.
Like their weakness on offense is their quarterback, so we have to find a way to impact that. Conversely speaking, our offense has to play well against a defense that is a top 10 defense in both against the run and the pass, and Dallas's offense hasn't done that this year.
Right. From a defensive guy, when we're going to disrupt a quarterback, it is one of the most difficult. It's the highest risk reward position to have to attack at.
Right.
And the reason is because to get to a quarterback, either your front four has to just be up front, or you have to blitz.
Right.
Blitzing works quite a bit. It's really fun, right? You don't get home. Almost, I want to say every starting quarterback in the NFL can complete that pass and read it, but they can't for some reason. The starters should.
Right.
Garoppolo's smart enough to do so.
Right.
So now you've got this give and take. I believe Quinn won't come out. I don't think he'll come out blitzing.
No.
I think in that first drive, if they have like 6 plays, he'll blitz once. The rest, he wants to see what his front 4 and 5 can do. If they don't get home, that's where I start to go. And Dallas isn't scoring on offense, of course.
Right.
Then that's where I start to go. This game is going to be
We've got to turn it.
really bad. Like it could get ugly.
Right.
And that's what's going to come down to, in my opinion, on that side of the ball. The other side of the ball.
Well, real quick on that, I think that staying in a base defense and making Garoppolo make throws, I think that needs to happen. I think Garoppolo needs to prove that, hey, we can play base coverage, base this, maybe get a little pressure, maybe not. Yeah. But even if they don't with 4, can Garoppolo make a throw to an open guy? Because he's actually proven just last week that both things can be true. Yeah. In the first half, he missed a lot of wide open throws. In the second half, he hit every one. So, I mean, same thing I think has to happen this week. So
exactly. Just they can't run the ball.
You just can't let them get comfortable, which just means multiple
you can't let them run the ball.
Right. Well, that, yeah,
like
absolutely.
If you want to sit back, do not let them run the ball.
Correct.
Because then Shanahan goes wild with all these crazy play actions, which are fascinating to watch.
Absolutely. And he's got the weapons everywhere.
And you know what his best weapon? One of his best weapons is? This goes to my heart because this is what I'm at heart. Fullback.
Yeah. The Juice, who's also a holder.
Yeah. He's got that. Athlete. Fullbacks can be athletes.
Right. So
offense, Dallas. I still can't trust Dak. I don't think I can trust a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs.
That's fair.
Dak's.
I can't trust him yet. He didn't show me.
But I mean, I trust Dak more than I trust Garoppolo.
Dallas.
Yes.
Dallas is big.
I mean, that's who they're playing. That's who they're playing this week. So
you're not wrong.
San Francisco's got a good run defense, and Dallas has to do something on the ground.
Where's Zeke been for a little bit? Where's the run game?
Actually,
he's tired. Pollard hasn't played. Pollard's their most electric running back. I've said that since week 1. Oh, he's been hurt last 2 weeks.
Oh, he has?
Yeah.
That would make sense.
He's fully healed now.
Healed?
If they don't get him involved, I'll be severely disappointed.
If you're San Fran, it's the same thing. But they can't run the ball. Don't let him run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Make Dak throw it 50 times.
But Dak's proven he can do that.
Yeah.
I would be more comfortable.
I'm more comfortable with that.
Than the other side. They lost Gallup 2 weeks ago, but Wilson has been more than sufficient filling that third receiver role. He had 2 touchdowns last week against Philly. Dak's comfortable with him. I think he played a lot with him because Gallup was out. So there's no loss there. I love Michael Gallup. Hope he comes back, but he's going to get traded in the offseason anyway.
Yep.
In my opinion, they don't get Lamb the ball enough. He's their best playmaker, explosive playmaker. So finding a way to get him the ball. Cooper's complaining about catches every week. He's a great underneath receiver. Dak's just got to be accurate when he throws him the ball. That seems to be the guy he's least accurate to, and I don't really understand it because it's the guy on a curl route. Like timing patterns for him are just that's where he misses. And ultimately, it is going to come down, in my opinion, to which quarterback makes a play in the fourth quarter or makes a play and throws it to the other team. And I don't love the matchup from the perspective that like San Francisco feels like a team overall sans quarterback that is built for the playoffs. Solid defense, both sides, no real weaknesses. Solid offense, run game, playmakers on the edges, playmakers in the middle. But they got to make their outside receivers make plays down the field, which I think bodes in Dallas's favor because Dallas likes to get burnt deep.
Yeah.
They don't really have that big playability, so Dallas can funnel everything in the middle of the field. And overall, I don't think that Dallas finds a way to win this game. So I like Dallas.
So
Give me
them
the
being at home
3.
isn't a factor.
San Francisco's not good. Like they're not going to travel to Dallas.
Is there a pressure difference? Do you think being the Cowboys, being at home?
No, because I think San Francisco.
What pressure are they under?
They thought. The last 2 years they've Super Bowl talk. They've had a lot of injuries. They've overcome a lot, but they're healthy now. Like they expect to make a run. Right. So they're going to put a lot of pressure on themselves. I think it's a good football game. It's also why I think the under hits.
Under 50.5?
That's tough though.
So I struggle with this over under because, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but
correct him.
This is probably the one game that kind of matches up very similarly to what I'm thinking.
There should have been so many more points scored in that game.
And it's the Chargers-Cowboys game that was 20-17.
That's because there were so many turnovers.
There was.
There should have been a lot of points scored in that game, but it wasn't.
But in a sense, San Francisco can run the ball, Chargers can run the ball.
Right. Absolutely.
That kind of stuff.
Yep.
This is where those teams, to my eyes, this matchup is similar. That's why that 50.5.
If I told you somebody's going to score 28 points, do you feel like they win the game?
Yes. That's my problem.
Right.
I do.
But Dallas winning 28-24 is an over game. And that's kind of where I see this game.
Yep.
Dallas has not been good against teams that are good. Ultimately, that's what scares me. I'm not going to go against Dallas here.
I wouldn't say that they've been bad, though.
Dude,
I look at it.
They've won 3 games against playoff teams. They beat Philly twice in New England.
But when they...
Philly doesn't count because that's... you guys have beat the East for, I don't know, forever.
They lost to all of the AFC West. That includes the Broncos. And they beat the Chargers 20-17 when the Chargers probably should have scored 35 points if they didn't turn the ball over inside the red zone.
Yeah.
Or go forward on 4th down for the 9th time, which is that's a Chargers thing, but whatever.
Oh man.
I'll say my picks because I don't want to change them, but I got Dallas over. JMJ has San Francisco over.
Give me the under.
Starting backwards.
I'm on Dallas.
Dallas under.
Yep.
Perfect.
San Fran under.
Talked yourself right into it, didn't you? You just don't like Dan Quinn that much. Let's say you like Shanahan
that
more
chess
than you
game.
like Dan Quinn.
The best offense always beats the best defense,
That's right.
and that's ultimately where I'm at with it.
San Fran's offense has been. Shanahan can't throw the ball, so
No, I'm just chess game.
for his guy.
Luckily, Quinn's not making any of the.
He just bet on
the
Jimmy
time-
Garoppolo to win.
The time management is not on Dan Quinn, so that's
fair.
That bodes very well for Dallas.
Shanahan
Alrighty.
much better.
Last game for
McCarthy.
Sunday.
I'm pretty sure they're both really shitty at it.
McCarthy's terrible, so
Last game for Sunday.
This will
we
be
got
fun. Timeouts for no reason.
right.
7-seed Pitt traveling to 2-seed Kansas City. Kansas City's 12.5-point favorites. The total is at 46.
Is this technically the Sunday night game?
This is a Sunday night game, 7:15. right, so
we didn't upload it. Chase, you didn't tell us and remind us to upload it.
Yeah, come on, Chase.
So before we jump into our analysis, JMJ has KC over.
Did you go through all the Dallas San Francisco picks? Sorry.
Yes, I did. So Stoy's got San Francisco under.
at us.
I have Dallas over.
We are 50,
JMJ, San
we are
Francisco,
50-50
San
on that.
Francisco
That's
over.
kinda cool.
And you got Dallas under.
I like that.
All right.
All right. We really don't know what the hell's going to happen in that game.
Yeah, fade somebody.
Fade. Good luck.
Hopefully you fade the right person.
Yep.
There's a strong follow and a strong fade in there somewhere.
So, KC versus Pittsburgh.
Do you
Their
wanna give us
first game.
You want to give us a breakdown of this?
I'll give some breakdown. So
Morrow,
the first
where
game
are
was 36-10. That was on December 26th. The Chiefs won 36-10. Big Ben did Big Ben things. He's old and depleted. Patrick Mahomes had a good game. 23 for 30, 258 yards, 3 touchdowns. Najee Harris had 93 yards, so he ran the ball well. I think so. When I said it's going to be fun to talk about this game a little bit earlier, it was due to that Denver Broncos game that just happened, and it's because Pittsburgh can run the ball, and that was
but their quarterback
strength,
can't.
right, and that's the thing, that it was the strength of Denver was running the football that kept them in that game because they were running the ball so well.
With their quarterback.
Well, and the running back.
Yeah, but if Drew Lock doesn't run in that game, if Drew Lock is Big Ben in that game,
I agree.
not in the game.
I'm saying Pittsburgh can run the ball,
Right.
but they ran the ball in this first game and it was 36-10.
Right.
So that's the only thing making making that fun. I mean, realistically, Pittsburgh had 3 turnovers, 2 lost fumbles, and an interception by Big Ben. KC just, honestly, they were a balanced run, balanced pass. They just played a clean football game, and it clearly showed that they were the better team.
Do you have an injury report for this game at all?
I do
Can you pull
not.
that up? Because I'm pretty sure that Williams got hurt for Kansas City, and also Harris got hurt for Pittsburgh. He came back, but he had a big old brace on his elbow.
They're not going
Let's
to come out
see
yet.
here.
Dislocated his elbow.
Harris left the game with an elbow injury in the first quarter, but was able to return.
Yep.
Another in-game injury was inside linebacker Robert Spillane. Suffered a knee injury, but he's confident he'll be able to return against KC.
Nothing about Kansas City, though.
I haven't made it that far. This was just behind the steel curtain, so that was only going to talk about Steelers. Let's go to.
I'm looking at it right now. Really, the only injury is Clyde.
But which I'm not worried
That's
about.
what Andy Reid said.
As long as Williams is going to play, it's fine.
Yeah.
Because
That's what Reid said, though.
Clyde is a non-factor on the Chiefs.
There's really,
I've said that to all my
Tyreek
Chiefs
Hill is
fans.
okay to go.
His toe was sore.
Yeah.
We'll just see how he does this week, but I'm anticipating him going. So basically, they're going to be playing. It's just how long and if they get banged up early or not.
That's fair.
It says Clyde's making progress ahead of the game, but is he going to play? Yeah. We'll see. So, not really any big injuries or anything that's going to separate this game like crazy.
I mean, KC's winning.
That's KC under for me. I don't really have too much to get into. The
Did
Steelers
those
are
both just go off at the same time? My computer and that
timed it.
was weird. I don't understand. Under for sure. But you got to give me Pitt. Too many points.
Too many points. You said you were going with the theme.
I had to. Let's stick with it.
Call you Theeman Willie Beeman.
Okay. So far we got JMJ with KC over. Stoy has KC Pitt under. Cole has KC under. And I actually like KC Pitt over in this one. 36-10 was what it was last time, so right at that threshold.
I just, like I said, Pittsburgh's scoring 10 again.
I think they scored 10 again.
Yeah, I don't see KC scoring 36.
That's the only thing that I think they scored more than 10.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
There it is. That's why I'm under.
So,
All right.
last game, Monday night.
This should
We
be really
have-
fun.
The 5 seed Arizona Cardinals headed to the 4 seed and division rival Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are favored by 3.5. The total's at 49.
Wow, this is a good matchup. I mean, what did they do in their 2 previous matchups?
Split.
But you've had that stat. You've had the stats the whole time, and this is
Yeah.
the time. Okay,
They split
This
1
is
and
the
1.
time?
We split.
Game 1, Arizona won 37-20. Kyler Murray had a really big game. I think on the ground, and that's the one stat I don't have right now, is on the ground. He had I think like 50 or 60 yards, but he threw for 268, 2 touchdowns, only had 8 incompletions. James Conner had two touchdowns in that game. I mean, they had 216 rush yards as a team. They ran the ball all over the Rams.
Mm-hmm. They're going to have to again.
AJ Green was their big target in that game 1. I think the most notable stat in that game 1 was Cooper Kupp only had 64 yards.
That'd be lowest yard of the season.
How many pick sixes did Stafford throw?
Right.
He did throw 1 interception. Henderson had a decent game. He went 14 rushes, 89 yards. Stafford didn't have a bad game. He went 26-41, 280, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Arizona didn't have any quarterback pressure, really, so it looks like, I guess they didn't get home to Matthew Stafford. I'd have to look at hits, but no sacks. So Stafford, his pick was just a bad decision on his part.
Which is
Theme.
yep. What game 2?
Game 2, Kyler Murray he must have made some bad decisions because he had 2 interceptions, but his numbers were 32, 49, 383 yards. So almost 400 yards. They did get 3 sacks in that game.
It was
30 to 23.
So what was the game?
30 to 23 Rams. Stafford had a better game. He went 23 of 30, 287 yards and 3 touchdowns. Sony Michel, 20 yards, 79. So arguably pretty close on the ground. Kupp, though, 123 yards and a touchdown.
Which is about what he averaged this
Is
year.
it average? Just average for him.
So to me, that's the big difference in those 2 games is
Oh, it's going over.
how involved did they get Kupp in?
Mm-hmm.
I will confidently say this is going over.
Yeah, I thought that number was low.
Yeah, this is going over.
If I don't understand why that game wouldn't be the highest number of the weekend.
I agree. 100% agree.
The only reason, 61% of the time after week 10, divisional games hit the under.
It's playoffs.
And it's playoffs.
It's playoffs, so that's fine.
Yeah, I'm still going to go with the over.
Yeah, still take the over as well.
Uh,
Ryan's taking the under.
Oh, yeah. I'm going with, I see too many overs on my picks, and I also going with my divisional.
That's fair. Man.
I'll just keep going through my picks because I know what mine are.
69 degrees.
I like the Rams to win this game, but I like Arizona to cover. I think this game could be last second field goal type deal, and Stafford has to drive him down, and they get that field goal. So I like Rams, Arizona to cover, and I like the under. JMJ likes the Rams over.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to start with just an overall breakdown of offense, defense. Arizona versus Rams offense. Arizona, I trust their quarterback more than I trust Stafford. I like Kyler's playmaking ability outside the pocket, running ability. I don't trust the Rams. Like I know they put this team together for this reason, so you should have the ultimate focus of the veterans and and all of that, but the running game is inconsistent. I don't trust McVay in big games. And then I look at the other sideline and I trust probably less Kingsbury. So I guess I would give the edge to McVay there just because he's been there and Kingsbury hasn't. Defensively, Chandler Jones can rush the passer. Von Miller can rush the passer. Aaron Donald's always a difference maker. You play against him twice a year. You got to have some type of game plan against him. I think you've got to run the ball. Arizona's been more apt to run it. I think I like Arizona in this game.
Really?
Yeah. They've been down lately, which is why if I was going to talk myself out, it would go the other way just because the Rams have probably played a little bit better of late. But playoff time, my guy the best player on the field in this game is Kyler Murray, and he gets to touch the ball as much as any other player on the field. So I'll take my chances with him making enough plays. Unfortunately for the Cardinals, DeAndre Hopkins is not available, which is probably why you guys lean the other way.
I mean, they added Zach Ertz, so that's a weapon that they didn't have in the first game. Mm-hmm. But Los Angeles also added Odell Beckham Jr., who's definitely been a difference maker for them.
Right.
So they both added somebody. Mm-hmm. DeAndre Hopkins, they lost.
Those aren't even the issues. It's quarterback. This is a quarterback game.
Right?
If Stafford makes mistakes, Arizona wins.
Mm-hmm.
Stafford doesn't, to me, the Rams win.
Yeah. I mean, and he can make one and be fine.
As long as it's not a pick six.
Here's the thing that we...
Well, I don't know.
He averages.
He seems to win when he throws pick sixes.
At the beginning of the year, we looked at the Rams roster and said, okay, this might be easily one of the best teams in football. Like, very, very much so. But then also, week 13,
mm-hmm.
we said the Arizona Cardinals are the best team in football, and then they just went on that skid for a little while.
Yeah.
So,
Arizona Cardinals, most wins against playoff teams of all 16 teams, 5 wins against playoff teams. Tennessee, Rams, 49ers twice, and Dallas. 5 was the most wins. A lot of teams with 4, a couple teams with 3, 2. Philadelphia, the only team in the playoffs with 0 wins against a playoff team.
It's very, very weird.
I'm not shocked.
Very, very weird that we had less hype about this game in Game 3 than we did about Buffalo, New England.
Mm-hmm. I'm not. Neither team is. I hate to say, I don't care. It's kind of like their fan base. It's why they're not good home teams.
That's fair.
There's not a passion about them. It's why I don't.
Right. But I'm just saying, it's funny that those two games, like, this is the third time that these guys have played, and we just kind of wrote it off as, okay, this is just another game. It's just a fun one to talk about, though.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Rams, Cardinals. They always split. They always do this. Buffalo's always lost to New England for like the last forever.
The last game.
Until they got a top 4 quarterback.
So that goes into kind of our bias of these. Like, we've seen Arizona, LA, and Seattle, and the Niners just beat up on each other for so long. It's kind of mundane to us. Right. But you guys give me LA over, in case no one heard me earlier. I just don't. It's a gut thing.
Right.
All right. So Stoy's money line: Rams over. I have the Rams, Arizona Cardinals, and then the under. JMJ has the Rams over, and Cole has the Cardinals over. I mean, this game screams over with these offenses, but I just got a weird feeling.
Oh, yeah,
it's that divisional thing. It's just the divisional thing.
Well, both defenses have playmaking ability. The thing is, I feel like their defense's playmaking ability is to the point where, like, Jalen Ramsey is a pick 6 guy. Like, Chandler Jones is a strip sack touchdown guy. Same thing with Miller. Same thing with Donald. Like, they're disruptive enough to score points
themselves.
Yeah, so therefore,
No, for sure.
Quick, before we sign off, because we'll plug it again, because we're still allowing new people into our golf pool. If you want to get in that golf pool, definitely message us on GoonSquad. I can't remember if we tweeted that link out or not, and people were able to join or not. But I mean, overall, we had some pretty good picks last week. Everybody was within the top 25. And Stoy, honestly, is a good pick for week 1 because everybody's going to score. But Stoy was last with a 21st finish. Like, that's still a really good finish.
Sink, baby.
Stewie sink.
Old Stewie.
JMJ took Sam Burns, and he was tied for 19th. Cole took Taylor Gooch, tied for 15th, and I took Mark Leishman, tied for 10th. So, pretty good week, pretty good start for us. You'll hear more as the year goes on and as these playoffs start to dwindle about golf. We'll start to make that transition. But again, I think we're allowing people in this week. And so hopefully if you guys want in, and again, like Stoy said, if you think you're better than us,
Bring it.
come at us.
By the way, you've missed a couple things. One, who was the champ last week? 3-way tie.
It's a 3-way tie.
So you roll over.
Yeah, let's
I have
roll it.
shitty shot, so we got to do shitty shot. And we can still make these picks. We just need to change
a little bit of the
a little
parameters.
bit.
There
Let's
just need to be
literally
more,
just dog, lock.
maybe just more best bet type of
Yeah.
thing, like 3 best bets,
Exactly.
or a most likely upset that you see or anything like that.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll take away the plus 200 and minus 200 and just go with your legit money line lock, your legit dog,
Yeah.
and get the spread.
I think we look at TikTok, and when these guys are roasting us, when we're going a money line dog of plus 200 or worse, that really depletes your options. When we're
Absolutely.
going a money line
There's
lock
like
of
3 to 4.
when we're going a money line lock of minus 200 or better, that really depletes your options. So if we could take a minus 500,
Absolutely.
we're just making it a little bit more challenging for ourselves. So yeah, we're probably not going to be as money, and it might not be as big of a lock as what you guys think.
Right.
And we're also making these picks on Tuesdays, so there's a lot. There's a lot of changes that happen.
Yeah.
I bet there's going to be a lot of KC on this one.
Cole,
Yeah.
do you got?
Yeah, absolutely. Kansas City.
I'm pretty sure KC's going to be the lucky lock on this one.
I mean, KC at home against the worst team in the playoffs. Like,
Yeah, obviously it's a lock.
I mean, there's a reason that spread's that big. And again, you look at the NFL all year, and that probably, has as good a chance as anything as blowing up in our face. But
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
it's playoff time.
It's
time-
playoff.
It's time for that cream to rise to the top.
I'll let JMJ make his picks later on. I'll just kind of throw them in there. I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay just to create some parity.
There you go.
I mean, another good, solid choice. That makes sense.
Spread lock. Within these games, it's actually really, really tough. For me, anyways.
It's not easy.
I like Buffalo.
Really?
Yep.
Just look at what I was just typing into mine.
Give me Rams.
Ryan wants the points. I can't blame him at 3.5.
JMJ, we'll let you pick later. I took New England as my pick.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that point total. And I trust them to cover it more than I trust Arizona to cover it.
It's fair.
Over-under locks. I honestly think my over lock is going to be the Cincinnati Raiders game.
Mm-hmm.
2 first-time quarterbacks in the playoffs. They're just going to sling it.
Yeah, I mean, both teams, gonna throw the ball for sure.
Give me the KC Pitt under. There should not be that many points because Pittsburgh can only score 10.
Right.
That's very fair.
So if they score more than 10, I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
I'll just be like, wow, all right. Good for you, Big Ben.
And I'll take. Jeez.
GG.
And yeah, give me the lock on the Buffalo New England game. Under.
Under?
Double on that game. You like that game? Gonna watch it?
I like watching Josh Allen. He's fun to watch.
Cannon.
Is Josh Allen your number one quarterback that you like watching in the NFL?
No, Aaron Rodgers, hands down. Dude is a magician. And that's coming from a Cowboys fan to a guy that's watching the Packers. That guy is unreal to watch. His release and what he does is
Like the throws that they hype some of like
the
Patrick
flick
Mahomes
of
and
the
different
wrist.
stuff like that up that Aaron
flick of
Rodgers
the wrist.
makes every single year.
It's not even that as much as like Rodgers' footwork. Like the only guy that's close in the league, in my opinion, right now to Rodgers with the strictly arm talent is Herbert.
Yeah, absolutely.
Throws made when you're like, oh, he can't really throw it that far off of that base.
Herbert is huge, by the way. It's a big dude.
Yeah.
He's tall. Let's not go with huge. He's still a quarterback.
Just a travesty that the Chargers and the Colts are somehow not in the playoffs and some of the teams that are. It blows my mind. I could put 4 teams together that I feel like, and yet you look at them and they had their chance and they lost to the teams that shouldn't be in the playoffs, in my opinion. So, hey, what do I know?
The Colts is the biggest. Like, that's on you. It's on them.
Chargers, look at all the talent on that Chargers team.
Being my money line dog.
I just got nothing.
You got a
My
top
money line dog pick right here is making me want to change it up top.
So do it. But you can give me the Niners.
I'll take the Cardinals. I mean, I picked it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What are you going to go, New England?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they've beat them once. They've proved that they can beat them.
Right.
So that's what I like about that.
Yeah.
All right. So of our money line locks, though, we've got KC going through, Tampa Bay going through, Buffalo and Cincy going through. So really the only game we really can talk about the most would be, does Cincy go to Tennessee and win?
Not with Derrick Henry.
If you had to pick that right now.
Not with Derrick Henry.
I like Cincinnati. If they win, I trust Burrow more than I trust Tannehill. I like that Cincinnati runs the ball with Mixon. Tennessee has
It's a good
some
matchup.
big holes on offense. Their offensive line is not great either. Cincy, so I like that, but their defense is Jekyll and Hyde.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take my chances in an over game there and Cincinnati finding a way to win because they're hot.
All right.
But I'll be disappointed and the Raiders will somehow beat Cincinnati and then we'll have to watch the Raiders for another week. So go figure.
And then they will not beat Tennessee.
Like teams
Like
I
that
don't want to
won't
watch another week. I don't want to watch the Raiders another week, and I don't want to watch Philadelphia another week, and I don't
You
want to
wanna
watch
watch Pitt?
Pittsburgh another week. So like all of those teams, like teams I rather would have watched, the Colts, the Chargers. That's what I think. That's overall what my problem is. Just like from an entertainment perspective, we've got non-entertaining teams who somehow gained their way into the playoffs. I don't want to.
So at this point, wouldn't you just say, like, I hope they win because now I need to be entertained?
By who?
I mean,
At one point,
They're in.
Las Vegas was entertaining at the beginning of the year when
They're
they were just
in.
finding ways to win.
if
They
you're
were
in, there's a chance.
Vegas was finding ways to win, just how we're talking about
Las
Kansas City's
Vegas'
finding ways
most
to win.
entertaining players, their kicker.
Yeah.
That's my cue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not wrong.
Right.
Like, hey, Pittsburgh's got Harris
Yeah.
and Big Ben throwing 10 yards. That is,
People keep talking Big Ben up, and I'm
it's
like,
entertainment to see him barely be able to
it's not. It's just not like
It's sad. Go home. It's like when
The
they had
end-
to put
the
Old
end-
Yeller
I mean,
down.
out of those
the
three,
end of
Just put
Manning,
Old
the
Yeller
end of
down,
Big
please.
Ben is just
out
like-
of those three, Philadelphia is the most fun to watch, I think, because Hurts.
I don't even like watching them play.
yeah, I agree, but that's
They're all over the place.
Because of Hurts, Devontae Smith, like that.
Right,
But
but
Hurts make plays. Watching Hurts make plays.
But teams
is
can make
awesome.
Hurt, and not to say that it can't happen in other games, but like teams can make Hurts look really bad.
Oh yeah.
And like, so if he is like that game's, I mean, I watched Dallas make Hurts look really bad twice this year. So, and that's not to say that, I mean, Philadelphia's like, they won obviously enough games to get in the playoffs, but they beat nobody who was good. Zero.
Zilch.
Nada.
So,
All right. Well,
here's to an exciting weekend though. Hopefully,
it's
some
wild
good
card
games.
weekend. All right. We really can't.
Here's to hitting 100% of your bets.
Yep. It won't happen.
Here.
Don't let him. Don't. It's not.
Don't cheers him.
It's time